Hello, my name is Nick Connell, and I live in a cave somewhere in a remote area near San Diego. Back in 1972, it was 71 or 72 that I built the cave, about 12 or 13 years ago. It's still early in the morning and there's a lot of fog and hazy. And I'll try to, well, I better walk very carefully, whoops, or I'll fall down. So I come around here, and this is my little canyon. This looks up to the canyon up here. Oh boy, that's a bit of a climb up in here. It's pretty steep. And I pan upward now. These are the walls above me. And right above me here, I'm aiming straight up. See, the canyon comes to a point and ends. And here's one rim of it. Some old tin cans that were left. And it gets covered up here. They're all rusted out. I think they're empty here. Let's take a look close, do a little archaeological excavation. I can feel something in there, whatever it was. Maybe it's some kind of soup and a little bit of hard stuff in there. But it's all, oops. Hey, that's really archaic. You know, it's incredible. You see this old stuff here, and you come to realize I put it there. And that's older than me. I mean, I'm older than it. Boy, I'm losing my memory. Well, I'd rather not know how old I am. Well, treasure is treasure, no matter what. That's what, whoops. You almost saw a picture of me going down there. Well, I'm just going to pack everything up and go down easy. Thought it was kind of interesting to say hello and wave. Hi there, folks. Here's Nick from San Diego, having a good time and doing his Hollywood stuff. Oh, the cave! I didn't show you inside the cave yet? Oh, sorry about that. I like a lot.
Use all the organs. And kidneys are often one of the first organs to take a hit, and they did. And,
Nick, I got the camera on your face. Want to give me a wink? Can you hear me, Nick? Okay, I gotcha. I'm not going to dwell too long here. The next footage will be you talking to me. By him. This is it. Oh my God, it's a lot more than I thought. Here we go. Cave number 1, original. Cave number 2, original. I don't think I've ever looked at these. Nick's cave number 4. Wow, the first time I met Nick that I recall, I thought he was a homeless person that was just stopping in. But he came directly up to me and said he read about the coffee house in an article and that he had some artwork that he wanted to bring to us. And he said he was either on the bus or at a bus stop and he read the article, and we were an eclectic coffee house that had regular art shows on a rotating basis, and he said he was guided by the spirit to bring his artwork to the coffee house, not just for a show, but to preserve his story, to preserve his legacy. And then he said that we were chosen. It was a spiritual adventure for him, or a spiritual guidance led him to us, or led us to him. And I think at the time, you know, Kelly and Chris, the other owners, just kind of rolled their eyes initially, whereas I sort of took it seriously because it just, you know, to me the art house was a spiritual thing, and that's probably what set us apart with the art. I don't remember hearing much about the cave until he brought in some paperwork, or, you know, the story itself sort of just came together. Yeah, because we opened up in like October of '93. I think he came to us in the spring of '94, and then it was November of '94 that he left. You know, I think it was within a week. I think they did the heart surgery, and he was intubated, which means he was put on the life-sustaining, and that was part of the recovery. But then I think he had kidney failure after his heart was repaired, and then the system just started failing after that.
This is a piece of artwork I'm holding for an artist named Nick Connell. He has lived in a cave part of the time in Torrey Pines. He's quite a good self-taught artist. More later.
California.
Kind of looks like a car wash, and there may be a little bit of an odor to it. It's alcohol based, or if you ever put the antifreeze in your car, it kind of smells like that. So we've got pretty favorable winds getting out to LA tonight, only about a 5-hour flight, and after all this I really anticipate us being very close to on time, if not on time. So thanks for your cooperation. We'll get underway in just a few minutes, and thanks for flying with me.
Anything that we can't eat in Essex as far as the yard goes. So we've got blueberry, black butt.
All of this garden here, all the berries up there, and up front we have dragon fruit, cherimoya. Nick used to get up very early in the morning when he lived in the cave, and then hike out and take a bus to Pacific Beach, and a friend of his owned a gymnasium down there. And he'd I'm sure he'd work out all day, and then probably shower. That's probably where he showered and shaved. And then I can imagine him grabbing a bag full of health food nuts and berries and stuff like that, and coming back to the cave and lighting the candles and living, trying to write his book about all his philosophies and religions that he so much loved.
There's no good reason for you to be frustrated not seeing my pleasant, cheery, smiling features and so forth. So this is the way I am. If you don't like it, this is my style of living.
This is Nick, pumped up Nick, right? Okay, he was in Mr. New Hampshire in 1948, but some of the later photographs of him showing he gained some weight. Yeah, he's got pretty good cannons for a. Okay, this is age 65. And he wrote on here, photo taken cold before workout. So I think he's probably intimating that once you work out, your muscles get even more pumped up. And this is 1987. Wow, fantastic.
See, for the deltoids, I can take a spike like this and simply raise it out to the side, up to the front, over to the side, whatever. So all these things are free. Don't have to pay for gym membership. Don't have to pay rent. Just get to have an eagle eye and watch out for forest rangers. And the only way you can do that and survive in a situation like this, as they say in the cartoons, you gotta be a little bit smarter than the average bear.
I love his art, and everybody, when I talk to people about his art and show that this isn't a good example. I mean, Nick has no artistic training.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he's basically self-taught, and and to work in sandstone, to make bas-relief carvings in a sandstone, it's got to be just difficult.
Definitely inspired.
Crazy. And then the paint, the latex paint, I believe, acrylic latex paint that he used, which stick nicely to sandstone. I'm sure he didn't have a budget for this.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure he just used whatever he could find in old house paint and stuff like that. So to come up with a piece that's that beautiful and that vibrant, and his use of real primary colors but making them work, that's a testimony to him.
You have been viewing carvings which I have done inside the cave beginning about January 2nd, and it's now 2 months. So this represents about 2 months' work of carving. There were 3 pieces that were done previously. So let's say that about 75% of the carvings are new. And this is just a preliminary videotape. And now I'll do another one later. I have some more carvings to do. I'm looking down into my front yard, in which you can see a blackboard which has been made on the north face of one of the cliffs in which the cave is situated. This is the front yard of my cave. A blackboard over here, a picket fence to hold the erosion from coming down from the cliffs above. There's a little seat over here that's made out of concrete. And when I visit and come to the cave, I climb down these little steps which I carved in the cliff, and I have sheathed them over with cement. This is my throne, where I can sit and enjoy and meditate in regal style. As one comes toward the cave, often I have visitors at night, and if you were to come at night, you would see through the window this scene. Above the cave is the inscription East of Echo, which is derived from one of the Tolkien novels. The figure of an Indian holding a quilled pen instead of a sword, with the sentiment above that a righteous pen is a sword of truth. Everybody's welcome, says Nick Connell. This is a writer's annual retreat, and you simply push to enter.
know Dennis, right? Dr. Muirden, this is his son Sebastian, who used to live here as a mere young lad. This is his old backyard stomping ground.
The doctors pretty much said that he ignored the heart attacks that he had. He just muscled through them. And he said there was a whole lot of damage when they opened him up. So he basically, I think he might have been on nitro. I remember him getting out of breath and stuff and just, oh, just a minute. You know, and he would just like muscle through it. Like when we went down to the cave, he was having like episodes. And I was thinking, God, what a, you know, but he would just power through it. I think he searched for avenues, venues that would have him out. I mean, I think he was prolific in that. He was always either typing and I was working the coffee house, or we were on a mission to, like I remember going with him to pick up those photographs and Xerox this, and I was sort of his chauffeur.
Gonna pass the time here somewhere. Can't have dead space.
He saw us as an avenue that would be interested as an art gallery to preserve the work and definitely to do a show, because we had artists coming to us all the time, but his was one of the most unusual. To me, it was very comforting that Nick was part of the whole motif of my life, and that I had an opportunity to pass some time with him, because I thought he was going to be around forever, you know. Never considered him as old and frail.
There, here we are inside. As you can see, I made the doorway just a little bit low so that the heat would be more retentive on the inside. This is a little bit of a shot of the door. And the ceiling is about 6 foot high, just a little bit higher than that. This first room of the cave was built about 1971, and it took about 3.5 months to do it using simple tools like a Bowie knife, a screwdriver, and so forth. Over here we have my sleeping area. You see the old man over here studying, reading a book. And every time I read with my head on the pillow over here, the old man looks over and reads everything that I read. I'm not sure which one of us is the smarter. It's a split level arrangement in the cave, yeah, a split level arrangement. And the other inner room also is obtained access by going through a little bit of an archway. Above the archway, between the two rooms, I have inscribed a sentiment: the glory of God is intelligence. This matches the other inscription over here, be still and know, which is very faintly visible. And here's a Maya figure, very thoughtful with his hand on his chin. I guess he's wondering whether dinosaurs were really reptilian or whether they were animal and had fur. Then my old friend, Big Babe from Ringling Brothers Circus, I commemorate him by having his sculpture on the right-hand side of the archway. Above the Hindu turtle holding the world, we find my rendition of a actual carving which was found in ancient America. And it is the most important carving in the whole cave. This carving was found in Itzapa, Chiapas, Mexico, and it has been interpreted as being evidence of a migration from the Palestinian area in ancient times. There's a unique story about how the cave actually came to be carved in this particular spot. All my life I've had a sort of an ambition to be a hermit, to have a cave and be off by myself, studying philosophy and science, religion, and writing a big book about it. I've always had that ambition, and throughout the years that ambition has never left me. There came a time in 1971 where I came into this area and was climbing around the hills and found this particular very narrow crevice. And at the time, I had a bad knee, and I had a hard time climbing up. And in fact, I didn't get up here at first because I slipped, fell down the cliff about 10 feet and landed on my knee, my bad knee. And I thought sure I'd be crippled for life. But as it turned out, I stood up and flexed my knee, and the fall had cured it. As a result, I was able to continue on up the little incline below where the cave is now, and I could get up where before I could not get up. And I found this beautiful little canyon, and I felt that this was the right place for me. And I camped outside where the yard is, a little bit higher up. And one night, I suddenly awoke and with astonishment discovered that this whole cliff in which the cave now is, this whole cliff had vanished. There I was sleeping in somebody's backyard because there was a house down in here. Right where the cave is now, I saw a house. And I felt perfectly awake, just as awake, as alert as I am now. So I went down and I'm apologizing all over the place to the man of the house, an elderly man. And I said, I'm sorry, says, I don't understand how it could be that I could not notice your house here, and I would never knowingly camp in somebody's backyard. Please forgive me for doing this. And the old man reassured me. He says, it's all right. It's all right for you to be here. You can come here and stay here anytime you want. It will be all right. You have my permission. And then in the flash of an eye, in a twinkling, I found myself back in my sleeping bag, sitting up, looking down. The cottage was gone, but the cliff was back. I took this to be a good omen, that this was a place that was very suitable for me. And so over a period of 3.5 months, as I said earlier, I carved the outer room of the cave. And the place has had a miraculous existence over about a period of 18 years. And people have been very good to it. It's only recently, during the past year, that these carvings have been here, that I've done artwork in it. But everybody has treated the cave very royally. And there is a universal feeling that there's a spirit of peace here. And they said, thank you, Nick, for creating this wonderful place. You have brought back the magic into our lives. You can't beat a punchline like that. That's the purpose of the cave being here. A place where one can have reverence for nature, a feeling of sanctuary, a feeling of attunement to God who can reveal himself in so many and diverse ways to all the peoples of the earth throughout the various ages of history.
Is have a should be carrying garbage bags after we're cleaning up the place.
So that if you ever come in the area and walk up by the area of the railroad tracks down below, you'll know what to look for. So off we go into the wild blue yonder. And now we're going to go down through a field which sometimes has rattlesnakes in it. And we'll be going in the direction of, this is looking a little bit towards San Diego. And I think I'll take a picture of walking along so you see the kind of a path. Now you may see a rattlesnake before I do, and if you see it, please warn me, okay? Up above him here, you see the highway. That's how close the cave is to the cars going by on Torrey Pines Road. You could actually take a stone and throw it down into my canyon, which is right there.
Now this little area right in front is, you can see the bush, the tree that's outside, and this cliff here, that's where the cave is carved inside. Now I'll withdraw the camera now, and when I came down the base of the cliff, following a pathway, and down through the sides here, and here's the footsteps where I have carved in. So I'd go up in this area, and then to my cave. Now you see there's two, while the sunlight isn't on both cliffs now, it's only on the one in which the cave is. But from a distance, during certain parts of the day, you see two cliffs vertical edges face them. But the one thing to go by when you're looking up from a distance is this highway fence, which there's a culvert going underneath it. So we look for the bald-faced cliff and the culvert, and that's where the cave will be. You come down here, follow the pathway, and I'm down here with a bunch of grass and the little people. The case that holds the camera, that's where I was standing just a moment ago. Good morning. It is about 4 o'clock in the morning, January 3rd, 1990, and I'm taking my last videotape of the cave under these conditions. I have been told by the rangers that in about a week's time the cave will be filled with concrete, and so this will be the end of my little hideaway here at Torrey Pines at San Diego, California.
Yeah, the reason why I was opposed to doing anything to the cave, but my boss, the chief ranger, who's no longer with us and was, I think, mentally disturbed, but that's another story. Actually, while I was on vacation in Florida in January, I think it was, during the winter one year, he went ahead and authorized $3,000 worth of gunite to be poured into the cave. And he had announced his intentions before, and I had been opposed to them, so he knew I was not going to be very amenable to it. So he did it while I was gone, and, nobody stopped him. He was able to get $3,000 out of State Park somewhere to do it. So, yeah, that was what happened. And, he said that, there was that sign-in sheet that used to be there, and he said it was up to about 275 visitations by kids from Torrey Pines High School and all over the place. So that's what he used as his evidence of the place was getting, run over. There was some concern about heroin addicts using the place. And my chief ranger, I hated each other's guts. Yeah. I thought he was just a horrible person.
Yeah.
And, most of the people weren't that far behind my opinion of it. And that we found, who found Nick's cave the first time was the San Diego PD. There is not an eagerness to discover the location for people to go back into it by the staff that's there. Plus there's two caves. There were two caves, so there was the secondary cave, which we also discovered.
If I could speak directly to Nick, and I think in some ways you can by just intending to, we'll just let him know that we're taking care of his stuff and putting it out in the world with the respect that it deserves, and preserving the cave that way and his vision.
Thank you.